Right, time to talk about the third one international then between South Africa versus India. South Africa, of course, 2-0 up. And it makes you think whether India are going to be making some changes galore in this one. You talk about the lights of, for example, Surya Kumar Yadav or Deepak Chahar for that matter, or Prasid Krishna. There are plenty of people on the bench waiting for their chance. We have JP Duminy with us right now. JP, how are you, first and foremost?
All well, sir. Always smiling with that 2-0 victory so far.
Yeah, 2-0. You predicted 2-1. So you really have nothing to lose. If South Africa do what? A whitewash over India, I think you'll be more happy rather than getting a prediction of 2-1 right. My first question to you is what I started the show with. Do you think India will make changes galore in that Sunday game?
Yeah, I think we will see a few changes. Whether it's going to be sort of a dramatic change, I'm not too sure. I don't foresee, sort of 5 or 6 changes. I think there would be at least two, in my view. And I think from an Indian perspective, having lost the series already, as always, you want to sort of look to the future and say, okay, we've got a few youngsters that have come on this tour. Yes, it is a short series and only 3 matches, so it might be an opportune time to give a few guys an opportunity. But you're not just throwing it away. I think these youngsters that have come on board certainly have earned their spot. They've earned their opportunity through some really sound performances over the last few seasons. So it's an exciting time from an India perspective to see new faces, to see what they have in their stocks, particularly away from home, which is going to be critical. Yeah, as we said, we foresee a few changes on the cards.
Yeah, I did mention Rituraj Gaikwad over there. Could be a good shot to open with Dhawan, and then Rahul goes back to number 5 because it's been a tough time for him in terms of this ODI series. Because even in the second one internationally, he got off to a start but couldn't make the most of it. From a South African perspective, they of course made one change in the second one international, which was Jansen out for Magala. Do you think they'll do that with the batsmen, given the fact that they're kind of having this whole process of managing the players, maybe bringing someone like Zubair Hamza?
I foresee quite a few changes from a South African point of view. I think they have the luxury to be able to do that now. And it was interesting listening to Temba Bavuma in his post-match to the second ODI. He mentioned that I think they're a little bit surprised by the fact that they're in this position being 2-0. They obviously wanting to play to win, but I think they didn't expect to be, winning the series after the second game. So now it provides an opportunity to have the luxury of looking at a few younger players or just new faces coming in. You have a sort of Yanaman Malan that has been on top of his game for a while now in the short stint that he's had in ODI cricket. So maybe there's an opportunity for him to have a break. There's one or two possibilities, but again, it doesn't take the shine away from having this vision of a 3-0 whitewash, right? So as much as you want an opportunity, you want to match that with still the same intensity and still fight and desire and hunger to go out there. And yes, you're always going to have that fight and desire when you're representing your country, but you don't want to take for granted the position that you're in and say, right, we're just going to kind of go throw it out there and see what we have. We want to give our best and make sure that we put our best foot forward in terms of our performances and our attitude. So I don't see anything different from that perspective.
Right, let's see if you see anything different in terms of conditions. Obviously, you will because it's a change of venue, given the fact that it goes back to Newlands, Cape Town, which is JP's hometown. JP, in terms of one international cricket in Newlands, what is the pass score? Do you think we can expect, again, a high scoring game, say in excess of 300 this time, or do you think it'll be again 250, 260, maybe 280?
Yeah, I think around that 270 mark or 260 to 70 mark seems to be the sort of par score. The thing about what we need to acknowledge here, it's a day game, and generally when we look at conditions and how they unfold when it comes to Newlands, there's always something in it in the morning with a 10:30 start. There's a little bit in it for the seamers, but then that sort of middle period, that midday to sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon, seems to be the best time to bat. So if a team is batting first, they would certainly acknowledge that, making sure that you look after that period of 15 to 20 overs. There's an opportunity to build partnerships there and cash in on the potential bad deliveries. But importantly, to know that it's a set up for the potential back end when it comes to Newlands. You won't find excessive spin necessarily at Newlands, so it'll be interesting to see whether either team goes with a sort of 4-prong seam attack as opposed to just the 3. Particularly with the fact that South Africa have had opportunities a lot more now with an Aiden Markram bowling quite a few overs. Do they go with one less spinner and then playing an extra seamer? And I think that could be a consideration for both teams going into the last game.
Yeah, it's a valuable point that made there because look, Ravichandran Ashwin hasn't had the best of ODI series despite coming back into the scheme of things as an experiment. That's not worked out. Same with Yuzvendra Chahal, who's just been perhaps still trying to find his feet back into the one-day international team. I just want to ask you, by ending this preview, 3-0 or 2-1, what is it going to be? Because this doesn't matter from an Indian perspective so much so, but they'll be taking plenty of learnings, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they certainly would. I think there's great learnings for both sides. And again, I need to ask you, head or heart, whether,
Heart,
in terms of
heart.
predictions. Yeah, heart is definitely saying 3-0. But I also want to get my prediction right. So maybe I should just stick to my 2-1. But again, you talk about learnings. That is certainly going to be the number one thing that I think both teams will look at in terms of not only optics of what it looks like in terms of results, but the sort of breakdown of certain phases in the game. Where have they really done well, and where can there be some improvements, particularly in different conditions compared to your home conditions? And yeah, there's always going to be some reviews and opportunities to reflect and where things have gone well, what you want to build on. From a South African perspective, winning 4 games in a row now, including the 2 test matches, which is massive victories for South Africa against a phenomenal Indian team, will be a great confidence boost. And that's probably the biggest learning for them. From an Indian perspective, I think, combinations are going to be key. Understanding the skill sets that are needed on different conditions and who best suits those skill set requirements. I think those are going to be the respective learnings for these two teams.
Absolutely. Let's see how India end their South African odyssey in Newlands, Cape Town. We'll bring it all for you on cricket.com in terms of stats and analysis, and we'll have JP back, of course, post that one international. Until then, it's a goodbye from both of us. JP, thank you so much for making your time felt once again.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Right, JP Duminy there, just of course happy because look, Proteas fan all over the world will be cock-a-hoop with what's going on, of course, a riveting Friday for them. But Sunday, can they make it a 3-0 whitewash? You certainly bet that they'll be wanting that right now.